If you haven't been living under a rock, then you know that the Blue Eyes White Destiny structure deck is the newest structure deck for the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG, and it releases today. If you're looking to up your game with a brand new strategy using old favorites, you've come to the right place. Today, I'll be teaching you exactly what the deck aims to do and discuss supplemental engines that aren't just Primite. Also, I think I have an engine that is on equal par with the Primite engine that won't break the bank. My name is Doc Conrad Yugioh, and this is my structure deck breakdown of Blue Eyes White Destiny. Greetings, ladies, germs, and everyone else watching. This is going to be my overall compilation of general ideas of how to really build the deck, the main playing points within Blue Eyes White, the Blue Eyes White Destiny structure deck, all the new support, as well as important cards that are supplemental engines that go alongside with this main normal summon engine. What do I mean by this normal summon engine? Well, your main goal overall is to start things off with the Sages. The Sage with Eyes of Blue and Maiden of White are level 1 light spellcasters, tuners, and there's a lot of synergy within those specific things, as well as synergies with the Link one. Spirit with Eyes of Blue. The main idea behind the deck overall is to normal summon out Sage with Eyes of Blue, add a copy of Maiden, Link off into Spirit, Spirit add Mausoleum, Mausoleum send Blue Eyes, Maiden of White discard, set another copy of Blue Eye to place a copy of True Light, and True Light set a copy of either Saga or Prayers with Eyes of Blue in order to fully get access to this whole engine and get the ball rolling. This eventually ends on 2 copies of Blue Eyes of Spirit Dragon if you wish to go for that, and which can eventually be go into Ultimate Spirit Dragon, and via Crimson Dragon, a copy of Stardust Cipher Divine Dragon. This is your main ideal end board, and there's a lot of fluffy things you can go ahead and do with this kind of thing. There's also the fact that you don't exactly need a normal summon of Sage adding Maiden and normal summoning Maiden. For instance, Mausoleum of White has this effect that states, during your main phase, you can normal summon 1 level 1 light tuner in addition to your normal summon / set, meaning that if you activate it at any point, you can normal summon an additionally level 1 light tuner. Not a light spellcaster, a light tuner, so there is some synergy there, which we will get to in a moment, but the general idea behind all of this is that with Spirit with Eyes of Blue, this monster requires a bit of a different sort of attributes rather than it just being level 1 light spellcaster tuners. It's just level 4 lower dragon or spellcaster monsters. Now in the TCG, we have access to do things with, let's say, Effect Veiler in order to, if you need to, in a pinch, normal summon this monster, or as the thing has suggested, the Primite engine. Primite Dragon Ether Barrel is a normal summonable card that sets a Primite spell trap from the deck and has recursion as well during your standby phase if a normal monster is in field or grave to add it back to hand. You don't normally use its secondary effect to send a normal monster from deck to grave. Instead, you would normally go ahead and set Lordly Load, adding Drill Beam, or if you have Lordly Load, add Ether Barrel, set Drill Beam. This is a good recursive engine you can utilize overall, and as well as it's a great start to your normal summon. The main reason why you would want to do this is because, I don't have this card right here, Seal of the Hieratic Seal of the Heavenly Spheres is another Link 2 that you can go into if the worst comes to worst. If you have no other options with both Sage or Maiden and only access to Primite and just some hand traps, you can end on Seals, as well as having Disruption with Lordly Load afterwards, and having some special summon of capabilities off that Seals with any other real dragon, and with a normal monster grave, that dragon could even be Jet Dragon if you really need to. You can also have options with Saga, the Blue Eye Dragon, to special summon Blue Eyes Jet Dragon. Prayers of the Eyes of Blue has an effect where if you have regular Blue Eyes on field, you can target a Blue Eyes, equipping Neo Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. This gives you, if sent to graveyard, give you target protection for each of your Blue Eyes cards, negating the activation, destroying, and also sets up Tyrant Dragon's material for a contact fusion on the field if you so wish. This card also being able to set other Blue Eyes spell traps as well. So that's the general idea of what the decks try to do. It's a relatively low to the ground, almost like plays with a potential for a high explosion of an end board if you have idea that they do not have Nibiru currently within the hand. However, there is a lot that this deck can be weak to. For instance, an Imperm on Spirit with Eyes of Blue can stop a lot of plays. Might be a very much an issue, depending on the type of access you have. Getting through a lot of your plays with the Mausoleum of White is important and not always welcome. Prayers of the Eyes of Blue is a very good Ash Blossom target, so wanting to set up some sort of negation beforehand is very important, and that is difficult to do with hand traps because unfortunately, Primite Drill Beam only negates cards on field, meaning both Nibiru, Ash Blossom, or Effect Veiler are not going to be affected. What I propose as a secondary option to the engine and help to play through these lines a little bit better is a little fella you see right here, Alistair the Invoker. Alistair the Invoker is a lower budget version and possibly, I would argue, on like just a little bit lower or maybe even in some situations better options than the Primite cards. Alistair the Invoker states that if it's normal or flipped, you can add Invocation. Invocation as a spell card lets you fusion summon from your extra deck using monsters from your hand, and if you're summoning an invoked fusion, you can banish monsters from your field or either player's graveyard as material. This allows you to eventually go into Invoked Mechaba, which allows you to go ahead and use that via Spirit with Eyes of Blue. That's right, we have not yet had a single Link 1 into this way just yet. We've only had Almirage into Gardna, into then going into this play with Invocation. This cuts down the summon a little bit more and allows for Magical Meltdown to be another search target, allowing you to get more copies of Alistair for either monster or spell negates if you want to keep Magical Meltdown and already have a copy of Alistair. Invocation also lets you recycle Alistair in order for you to get a guaranteed monster negate before summon 5, which, need I remind you, the regular Blue Eyes deck has difficulty getting to through Nibiru. So far, they've had to go ahead and play in a sort of low-to-the-ground-esque way with setting up Blue Eye Spirit Dragon only, and really having other cards set up for follow-up, and not having much else. Maybe you could set up seals to allow for a tribute effect afterwards, but that's about all. Another factor and another reason why I think that Alistair the Invoker is a good option is because of these two cards, Set Rotation and Terraforming. By playing another field spell that wishes to be set, and if your monster happens to be, I don't know, let's say Impermed, your Link 1, you're not able to get the Mausoleum of White nearly any single way, and a lot of plays kind of rely on that. If you have copies of Terraforming and Set Rotation off of this, you're able to turn off Imperm quite quickly by setting up a copy of Magical Meltdown, or if Imperm is activated on Spirit with Eyes of Blue, you're able to then just have it be set and they can't activate it anymore if Magical Meltdown's on their field, or just having it be another option. I think that this engine is by far the second best supplemental engine for a normal summon deck when it comes to Mausoleum of White. Now that we've gone through the two main ways I think the deck should be played, let's move on to some of the other, interesting versions. We'll actually start with what I think is a good supplemental engine just to play alongside the Blue Eye structure, and that's kind of addressing the Nibiru problem. Fiendsmith is a great archetype that allows for you to use these cards. It's not exactly as budget, but I know a lot more people might have these cards over the Primite cards, especially if they happen to become reprinted with Quarter Century Bonanza, which may or may not happen. These cards could see a bit of play in that regard with going into Caesar. So that may be very well may be a budget option you could utilize. By being able to go into Caesar before your end plays, you are able to negate the summon of Nibiru and allow for you to have a sort of nib check before you go into your main plays if you happen to open up a copy of Engraver or anything involved with a copy of Tract. But it doesn't have a problem with the normal summons of Lacrima and Lurie. You kind of really don't want to normal summon them because you want your normal summon to be one of these monsters to start with and get to your Link 1 eventually. Now we can move on to White Forest. Now, the reason why White Forest could be a very good option is because of the effect of a Stellar. A Stellar is a fantastic option when it comes to sending spell traps from hand or field to the grave to special summon a light spellcaster tuner from your deck, meaning that you can get a copy of Maiden, and Maiden effect sending True Light, being able to... True Light is sent from face of spell trap zone to the graveyard, so you would have to go ahead and have another copy maybe from hand if you have that, or some other spell trap you don't mind to get sent into the graveyard. Getting another copy of either of these monsters seems to be pretty good. Unfortunately, Sage is only a normal summon, but that's neither here nor there. You also have access with Tales of the White Forest, being able to, if you normal summon out Sage, or special summon out Maiden, you can activate Tails to add another White Forest monster from deck to hand, meaning that you can get yourself a copy of a Stellar, Elzette, or the other White Forest monsters. If you want to go ahead and think more about Link 1 plays, Black Metal Dragon is another option you have, being able to add a Red Eyes card from deck to hand, going into Spirit as well, and having more Link 1 plays, alongside setting up the Red Eyes Black Full Metal Dragon plays that you can use to tribute a level 5 or higher dragon monster, meaning that if you happen to end on, let's say, regular Blue Eyes, you can go ahead and also end on this by setting a copy of Max Metalmorph, and Max Metalmorph tributing for Full Metal Dragon. Another decent Link 1 play with a little bit, coupled with 2 bricks and only 1 option, may not see as much play. Also alongside this and the other 2 level 1s is 1-for-1 as another option, especially if you want to pitch those pesky bricks that you have when it comes to Blue Eyes White Dragon. Red Eyes Black Meteor Dragon can also send Blue Eyes White Dragon to the graveyard if you want to get that into further rotation and have another body to go into seals. Right Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, not so much, because you really want to go ahead and not use it and resummon it out with Spirit. More or less you want to go Black Metal, add Black Meteor, and then Black Meteor send in a copy of Blue Eyes, link those 2 off into seals, and you have the plays from there already if you'd like. Avoiding the whole Mausoleum aspect in general, giving you that sort of seal setup without having to worry about the Primite engine, could see some play. There has been some talk, but I have not paid attention too much, to Buster Whelp of the Destruction Swordsman, being a normal summon that add a Destruction Sword card and playing sort of a control trap deck style, allowing for you to, I believe, go through Prologue to send a copy of Sword Memories and Buster Blader the Destruction Swordsman to special summon out Buster Dragon, which is the lock that makes them dragons, and Destruction Sword Memories to banish Diffuse from your extra banishing fusion monsters listed on the graveyard, which is Buster Blader and a dragon monster, which you have Buster Blader and the dragon monster you have, so this could be another good option. And also, this is a level 1 light tuner, allowing for you to have the double normal summon with Mausoleum of Light with Buster Whelp. Very crazy stuff. This card has gotten a little bit more expensive as things have gone on, and it's seen some success. There is also some other... This brew, very, very unlikely to see play, but I thought it was cute. Gravekeeper's Recruiter is mandatory, adds a Gravekeeper's monster with 1500 or less defense from your deck to your hand, and guess what card happens to be less than 1500 defense? It's the Gravekeeper's Commandant, meaning that you can add a Necro Valley to your hand after going through your regular Link plays, setting up Mausoleum, doing all of that, and then going end phase, like end of main, Commandant, send, add Necro Valley, place Necro Valley. Could be season play, another option as well with terraforming and set rotation. Just more options to thin cards out of your deck off of being sent to the graveyard. And this card being mandatory means it won't miss timing either, so could start some interesting chains that might interrupt things, who knows. You have the Tenpai cards, of course. Chandra, Pydra, all of the Tenpai cards are able to be linked off eventually for Spirit, but there's really no much you can do. The biggest thing with Chandra and the level 8 bodies is synchro off into like 12s, and they only really lock you into synchro summoning dragons if you use, I believe, no, it's only... No, you can synchro summon to whatever it is you'd like. So you can go into the full either plays of having some extra level 12s, going into Crimson as well. could see some usage, maybe not. Saying it Kaiman is a very strong card either way. We've already talked about the Fiendsmith stuff, so let me go ahead and move finally to my last little tangent. E-Telly can work with this. Let me explain why. Dimensional Allotrope Varus is a level 1 light psychic tuner that can change its attribute and type, and this card becomes that type and attribute until the end of the opponent's turn, meaning that you can make itself a level 1 light dragon tuner. The perfect sort of thing you would want to get in order to link off, of course, into Spirit with Eyes of Blue. So, with all that being said, that is pretty much everything I have to say about this, the ideas and the kind of small brews and synergies you can utilize to supplement with your Blue Eyes White deck, Dragon structure decks. I have some examples of some options of decks you can use. For instance, this Invoked deck right here is something that I have been testing with and utilizing. You can go ahead and cut a copy of Invocation, maybe some Invoked, and Agotis if you really want to, and play a minimal amount by only having 1 Invocation and having 2 more free slots in the extra deck. This isn't a perfect list, of course. There's a lot of things you could use to go ahead and beef this up. The meta may shift and change, the non-engine may change, but this just gives you a general idea of what you want to have. 3 copies of Sage, 3 copies of Maiden, 1 copy of True Light, 3 copies of Prayers, 1 copy of Saga. You can or don't have to play Majesty. Jet is also another option, allowing for it to be set off of this copy of Saga. And then for the normal summon, they didn't like that. Sorry, they didn't like me spreading the hidden goo here. You can also go for the 2 copies of the Blue Eyes White Dragon and the Alistair the Invoker for the first normal summon, allowing for you to go into the Link 1 plays with Spirit Tribute off, Gimmick Mechaba, go from there. Overall, I think that this is the second best version of the deck that you can be playing as a supplemental normal engine alongside instead of just having 3 copies of just the structure deck that everyone's been trying to build. Let's not kid ourselves, right? We only do those things for YouTube challenges. You don't need to limit yourself to just 3 copies of the structure deck, especially when the Alistair the Invoker is getting a reprint and they're getting a lot of different cards. Invocation and Magical Meltdown are relatively cheap. You can find this relatively easily for less than, like, I don't know, like 8 cards of less than like $4 a pop. So, like, worst comes to worst, you need to spend about like 7 copies of, for 7 copies, these at $4 a pop. You do the math. That's all I have to go ahead and say about this. If you like this kind of video, like this kind of content, me wanting to discuss more things about how to brew up new decks or old decks in the future, let me know. Let me know in the comments what you guys want to go ahead and see from me. My name is Doc Conrad Yugioh. Thank you so much for watching. Have a fantastic night, and I'll talk to y'all later. Take care, everybody. See you.